Thank you for those that just tuned in. My name is Eric Murphy. I'm the co-curator of Recovery ACT, Arts, Culture, and Technology exhibition online, and also featured at Joyce Gordon Gallery in downtown Oakland. We honored to have here Amir Abdul-Shakur, who I was blessed to be able to find through my co-curator, Therese Ariarte Medina. And we wanted to set up a special window installation that kind of celebrate a sister city connection between Oakland, California, and Brooklyn, New York. We've been talking about a lot of the parallels between both of the cities, not to mention historically, East Oakland shared that same name. So there's lots of connections, but we want to share like a lot of social connections between both of the cities, especially the black and brown communities that often parallel but don't get talked about. Oakland, Brooklyn always being compared, but they never compare those aspects of Oakland and Brooklyn in terms of the black and brown communities and what they struggle to go through. And we're so honored to have Oakland photographer Amir here, featured in our Sister City window installation. So without further ado, I was reading your article in 7 by 7 magazine, which is awesome, by the way.
Thank you.
And can you kind of tell us about how you got started and established yourself as, how you put it, a visual, correct me if I'm wrong, a visual abolitionist?
Yeah. Bismillah. I've been starting photography for me started in 2018, in February 2018. How that journey started was in 2017, my family was a part of a PBS documentary entitled The Talk, Race in America, which dig deep into the conversations that people of color are having with their children. As a result of that, that documentary, we bought a Canon T6i to do vlogging for our family because of the documentary. And so 2017 happens, documentary comes out. Ironically, it gets shelved right after that. So our story features the story of Tamir Rice and a lot of other folks across the country that have dealt with police interactions. And when that documentary got shelved, because it's very, critical of law enforcement, I didn't use the camera. So the camera sits in my house for about a year. And then February 2018, the Black Joy Parade comes to Oakland. It's the first annual. I thought it would be a good time to go out and document. Just something told me just to go out, in the age of racism and Donald Trump, it just felt the need to go in and document something that was celebrating Black joy. And so I started February 2018, and from there I've been pretty much shooting consistently. Shot here in the Bay Area, shot in New York, and I've also shot in Johannesburg, South Africa when I went on vacation last year. So just being able to kind of go and meet people from all different walks of life has kind of led me to my journey.
Awesome. That is great. So, and then, so from what I was reading, your work just like really took off almost like instantly, starting with a photograph you did of a young lady wearing a mask, saying "I can't breathe," and from what I understand, it picked up the interest of like MTV and other like major companies that saw like your powerful work and just shared it, and just tell us what that felt like.
Yeah. So when I started in 2018, after I did the Black Joy Parade, a lot of friends saw the pictures from my consumer level camera, and they say, "Look, you have a talent, you have something there." And enough people said that led me to that. And then from there, one of the first contracts I had was with the city of Oakland, was doing photography for their transportation. So just going from someone that never picked up a camera prior to 2018, any type of professional camera, to then having a contract with the city of Oakland within a month or two of becoming a photographer. There's been a tremendous amount of of just interest since I started. But in June, I posted a picture of a young lady, as you said, and that caught the attention of different folks. When I did the city of Oakland photos, Lyft, MTV had already kind of reached out in different capacities to showcase my work. But when June happened, that photo kind of just, it went to the hands of different folks, and it caught the attention of 7x7, Good Morning America, and different outlets, and it just kind of led me to where I'm at today. So it went from, having maybe 2,000 folks to over, span of 2 weeks, doubling that number, and it's constantly keep growing. So I think it just, I think people just resonate with the photos. I think it kind of hits them on a emotional human connection. And I think that's kind of why it resonates with folks.
Yeah, it's very powerful. I mean, looking at your photographs, look like somebody that's been involved in this process for years. I mean, the way you capture the essence of people in your moment, and just the way you quickly develop a method to engage them and to allow you to capture that moment is amazing. It's like, had you not told us, nobody could really tell, because that your work is just powerful, and it just speaks volumes, and it's just amazing. So I really want to give a shout out to Therese. She actually spotted your work, and she told me about it, and I just like, Eric, you got to check out this photographer from Oakland, from your city. Amir, I'm like, what? It's the first one she showed me, which we're gonna get into. Is the young brother with the Oakland shirt with the Black Panther, and that just like, Eric, we got to put this piece in. I was like, yes, we do. It's just amazing photographs. Can you tell us about that and the two other pieces in the photographs in the exhibit?
The one that you're talking about is it was the night of the Oakland protests. It was the night where there was a 8 p.m. curfew in the city of Oakland to keep people from protesting, and people have been protesting the death of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, and for me, it was just an opportunity to go out there and really see what was going to happen. I didn't stay for the full event, but I stayed for a portion of it, and it just one of those moments where you see the energy, you see the people, and I happened to run into a good brother named Damian McDuffie, who I just happened to see just kind of moving about, and he had the shirt with Oakland on it. I had my little rotor light with me because at that point it was already nighttime, and I'm like, hey man, let me get a shot of you in the shirt, and we kind of just took a quick shot. So yeah, that was that's my good brother who's doing a lot of work with the Huey P. Newton Foundation here in Oakland, and he is an amazing educator and a good person to know. So that's the good brother Damien. So we had this thousands of people out there, and for me just to have him there, I said, yo man, let me get a photo. So I took a couple. I had a 70-200 lens for this shot, so I had to be at a pretty decent distance back, but then I also had a light in my hand trying to make sure that the image is properly lit. So it's kind of a nice balancing act, and I think I was able to get off a decent shot.
Oh, very decent. very, very powerful. And so, can you tell me about these other photographs here? You have a young lady that's holding a sign saying, comparing, basically comparing the period of Nat Turner to what's happening in America today.
Yeah, this young lady was, if I remember correctly, is not the same night as Damien's picture, but it was a day that the Anti-Police Terror Project had an event. Shout out to Kat Brooks, shout out to Turha Ak, and it just was a day where people came out and just wanted to really show, number one, solidarity, but then also be, the voice of pleasure. And so I saw this young lady. The sign it had two sides to it, so I took pictures of both. But this side had Nat Turner, the revolutionary Nat Turner, in 1831 and Black America 2020, and just for me, it was just super powerful, just to have someone to really be mindful of old prophet Nat, and it was just something that just kind of presented itself, and so I made sure you can even see I'm in the shot because I'm trying to make sure that I'm trying to get the subject isolated, but you can see me in the lower right, just trying to make sure I get the shot and get the full picture. And once again, I had a zoom lens, so I had to be pretty far back to try to get it, get that shot and make sure that everything is, in focus and there.
Yeah, this particular photograph just really stood out to me right away. Just even like the way she engages with the viewer, with you as the photographer, but also at the viewer as it's like she's wearing a mask, but you can see the urgency and intense in her eyes in which the message she's trying to give. So that's what and that's really the more powerful part is like people be like, well, I'm wearing a mask, you can't really tell I'm smiling. It's like your eyes still speak. Your eyes still tell where you are in your moment or in your emotion. So
Absolutely. And that's the thing about, for me, I think I'm even more comfortable in these environments, especially with the mask. There's been a lot of debate between how photographers are to engage protesters at these things. And for me, it adds another layer of comfort. It's already difficult enough to kind of break the ice with someone that you don't know and be able to capture an image like this. A lot of the interaction that I do is usually between a few seconds to a few minutes, very brief. So to be able to get someone to open up to you and to be vulnerable and to be, just present is it's not easy. And so being able to, to capture this image, and then the other side, if I remember correctly, I have a picture I'll probably get a chance to show, but it says MLK, they, peaceful. They killed them. Malcolm X militant killed them. So very powerful piece. This particular piece, with my Asian brothers and sisters, this piece kind of presented itself. It was on the same day of the Oakland protests. It was on the same day that I shot Damien's photo, but earlier. And I'm scanning the crowd to see there's people that just looks interesting. I'm looking at just kind of, just energy. I'm looking at just signs. I'm looking at just expressions. And I saw these two, with the whole kind of hazmat kind of outfit on. And I don't read Chinese. I'm assuming that's Chinese. I know that's Tiananmen Square in the picture, which was a connection. And for me, I just asked them to literally stand there. Now, as I'm getting them to stand there to take the photo, because I'm really focusing on really building the bridge between Black and Asian communities, and that's why I took the photo. As I'm framing the subjects for this photo, the word unity is in the right hand side. And it just kind of just lended to the photo. So it's very much intentional that I didn't even like shift them to the area. That just happened to be where I met them, where I asked them for the photo. And it just so happened that the word unity was also there. And so for me, taking this photo, prior to the days of this photo, there was a lot of xenophobia against the Asian American community, largely from Donald Trump, but also from others. There was a video in San Francisco of a person collecting cans that was assaulted. And so for me as a photographer, I knew that having, communities come together was critical and to the conversation of America. And I want to make sure, at least in my work, that if I see folks in different communities out there with us, that I want to highlight that. So I took the photo. I made sure that after I really looked at it, I wanted to make sure I didn't, crop it in. I thought it just spoke for itself. So.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you did. Is first, are these Are these like doctors, or are they doing like COVID tests, or how did they get into the mix of things?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know because I did some nonverbal communication actually for this. I'm looking at because they got the whole get up. They got masks. They got the shield. They got
They got they do.
There is no germ that's going to penetrate them. So I'm just like, hey, I get the shot, and I'm like, hey, stand right here. So I didn't ask. I know that these two were in there in community. A lot of people that are not Black, when they come into these spaces, they tend to kind of be observant, and they're not trying to take up space. And so I just knew this is by you being there, that was enough for me. So I'm eager to know. It's probably going to be like a Tiananmen Square kind of shot because if I remember correctly, with the Tiananmen Square shot, we don't know. I don't think we know who the protester is that's standing in front
Yeah,
of the
they
tank.
never found out who the name of the protester was to this day.
Right.
That from what I read. So
Right, and
that's
it's
amazing.
probably the same thing with this photo. So.
Exactly. So they represent.
Yeah.
And the other thing I want to mention, and the reason why I was so really drawn to this photo, even with the solidarity and showing the love and share between Black and Asian communities. It was the unity in the back, and prior to me being able to discover your work, I reached out to an artist I knew. Her name is Ellen Beck, and she did a tribute piece to Yuri Kochiyama, and the title of that piece just happened to be Unity, and I had the pleasure of meeting Yuri Kochiyama, who's a civil rights activist. She worked a little bit with Malcolm X and helped fight for Black civil rights struggle, but also for Japanese American struggles, also, and other Asian community, others in the Asian community. And she a lot of people know her from the photograph when Malcolm X died, and she held him in her arms. But when she came to Oakland, she moved from New York to Oakland, and I had the honor of here because I used to work at Pro Arts, and she used to do speaking engagements, and so I told Ellen, I was like, I got to have this unity piece in the show because I knew you had a chance to meet Yuri and hear about her efforts and her struggle, and then Therese introduced your work to me, and I saw this. I was like, oh my God, I gotta have those two pieces in the same show. I was like, it just reinforces that solidarity. So I'm so
Absolutely.
honored that you had this piece available to create. So
Yeah, it's one of a piece that I think is super important as far as trying to bring everyone together in this day and age, and I think it's really super important that we just have conversation and that we show one another that I got your back, you got my back, because our enemy is the same, and so it's just super important for me to capture stuff like this.
Exactly. So my next question is, can you tell us, actually, before I get to that, is there any other projects that you're working on that we should know about?
Oh man, yeah. Let's see, where do I start? So we have our current stuff here at George Gordon, which is the current stuff. But I also have had a recent interview with Good Morning, or a piece in Good Morning America, where they highlighted the scraper bike team from Oakland, and I took some photos of the scraper bike team, and they added one of my photos to Good Morning America about a week or maybe two ago. Oh, actually, no, it's a different photo. It's down there on the timeline, but it's a photo that I have about maybe 20, scraper bike folks out there just looking powerful. I took the shot like 2 years ago, but they want to use it. So that's out there. I got another opportunity with the East Bay Photo Collective. They're going to be doing an installation in West Oakland, so I'm going to be having some of my photography on an outdoor installation in West Oakland. And so, yeah, those are the things right now. And I'm about to start working on another, the follow-up to the documentary that I was in with PBS. And so we're getting ready to start filming for that. So it's a couple of things that are happening.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and then next week I'll be in DC, heading out to DC
that's right.
for the March. So I'll be out there next week, God willing.
Great, yeah. So, my other question is, what does recovery mean to you, and how did COVID-19 affect you and your family, or even with the current unrest? Either one, how did that affect you, and what does recovery mean to you within that regards?
Okay, let me start with the recovery question. What recovery means to me is there's trauma that's been done, right? So we look at the word recovered. It means you're trying to heal from something, and as we know, as Black folks in this country, that we're trying to, we still we ain't even started the process of fully healing, but we're dealing with systematic racism and oppression, and as a result, that trauma persistent in daily life. And so, for me, my recovery is documenting Black joy. That's how I fight racism, and this is why I call myself a visual abolitionist, is because I'm fighting racism in my at least the way I think about it with photography. I'm humanizing the people that shouldn't have to be humanized. I'm documenting folks from all different walks of life, not just Black folks. Like I shoot Black people, I photograph Black people well, but I can shoot anyone. And for me, it's about really finding those intersections and commonalities and figuring out ways as a photographer to bring folks together. So recovery is joy, it's happiness, it's peace, it's healing, it's meditation, it is ratchetness to a certain degree. because the ratchetness, right, that's an expression of joy.
Exactly.
Just because I don't agree with it necessarily, right? I may not necessarily be ratchet, but when you are, when you're just doing, like you're doing you're being free. In Oakland we had the hyphy movement. It's the same thing as being free. So I try to document not just the good, the folks that we feel like are the upper echelons of Blackness, but I'm shooting folks that's out there in the hood and trying to find the balance of the two worlds. So it just, it's an amazing journey that I'm so blessed to be on. And for me, my trip to Africa last year was a experience that kind of cultivated this, and kind of just not just my experience as a photographer, but really kind of set the directions that I'm on today, which is just to continue to document Blackness as best as I can.
Oh man, and you've done that well.
Yeah,
you've done that well.
Yeah. And then the COVID question, we've been, I'm at home now. I've been at home for 4 or 5 months now at this point and so we're trying to maintain as normal as possible. My child is doing distant learning. My wife and I are doing Zoom meetings daily, or for the most part daily. This is the new normal. And so trying to figure out how do we fit in this new normal. Luckily, I'm still gainfully employed because I do photography really as a hobby. Up until June, it was pretty much a hobby. And even now, it's something I do in my spare time. But we're trying to maintain a lot of family time, a lot of time to reflect and just really think about directions as far as like, where in a few months, in 71 days, where's the world going to be? So.
Oh man, yeah, exactly. So man, I enjoyed talking with you, Brother Amir. Can you do me a favor? Can you let our audience know where to find your work on Instagram, any websites? Where should they go?
If they want to check out amirthephotographer.com, it's going to reroute you to my Instagram page, which is under the same handle, instagram.com/AmirThePhotographer, AMIR. Everything else is spelled the way you should. And you'll just see pretty much what I've been documenting over the past 2 years. So it's not just things from the protests, which a lot of people maybe assume. I've been kind of documenting stuff that you see on this page for 2 years, two plus years. So it's not just when it became popular or became trendy that I was capturing Black folks. I've been, doing this since I started. So, it has stuff that I just think is dope. My aesthetic, it's just joy. It's happiness. I think of my work as a patchwork, as a quilt, which is very synonymous with Black culture. And for me, I thought about my aesthetic and how my layout would be on my page. And I'm like, I'm not putting no pretty white borders over every picture. I'm gonna just add them. And I think the reason why is that when you're dead and gone, and when you die, people don't care about that stuff. I don't think no one's gonna come to my page if I die today and say, "Ooh, he has white borders," or "This is not." I think I think it's nonsense. I think people are gonna just appreciate, and I want to use the full frame to kind of get to really tell the story. So that's what you're gonna see. From here in Oakland, like I said, Brooklyn, I was there last year, and some of my stuff from Johannesburg last year. So.
Awesome. Well, I love it, man. And thank you for your time. It's an honor to have you. So you can see Amir's work both online at www.rootsartistregistry.com. Sorry, www.rootsartistregistry.com/Recovery Act. You can also see his work in person in downtown Oakland, Joyce Gordon Gallery, 406 14th Street in downtown Oakland, near the corner of Franklin Street. If we're close and you're in the area, you can see his beautiful photographs lit up in the window in our Brooklyn, Oakland, Sister City installation. And yeah, then the show will be up till August 29th, and the online exhibit will be ongoing. So check out Brother Amir, and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, thank you. All right, bye. And bless you and your family and your son and everybody.
Yes, likewise, man. Sending love to you and yours as well, man.